When the Grim Reaper failed to do his job, hell erupted in chaos. You know that old saying, if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. Well, that's exactly what happened to the Grim Reaper when he messed up on one of his most important assignments ever. What was this assignment, you might ask? Well, it was none other than collecting the soul of a certain individual. But the problem was that he forgot to bring along his all-important soul-snatching sickle. Talk about a major oversight. Now, normally this wouldn't be much of a problem for the Grim Reaper. After all, he's got a whole arsenal of other ways to nab a soul. But in this case, the individual whose soul he was supposed to collect was particularly tricky, and without his trusty sickle, the Grim Reaper was in for a world of hurt. You see, this person wasn't just any ordinary Joe. They were a notorious trickster, the kind of person who could talk their way out of almost anything, and let's just say that they weren't above using dark magic to get what they wanted. So when the Grim Reaper showed up at their door, all smiles and ready to do the deed, they weren't exactly thrilled. But here's the thing. The Grim Reaper was already sweating bullets. He knew that this person was trouble, but he was also pretty confident in his abilities. That was until he realized that he'd left his sickle back at the office. Without that thing, he was basically a butterfly net collector, and this guy was a freaking hurricane. Now, most people would have panicked at this point, but the Grim Reaper was a professional. He'd been collecting souls for centuries, and he wasn't about to let a little thing like a missing weapon get in his way. So he did the only thing he could think of. He improvised. The Grim Reaper had a few other tricks up his sleeve, some of which involved actual violence, but he really didn't want to resort to those just yet. Instead, he decided to try a little trickery of his own. You know, play into the whole "I'm here to collect your soul" trope, see if he could catch them off guard. It was a long shot, but it was all he had. He knocked on the door, and when the person opened it, he put on his best demonic voice and said, "Prepare to die, mortal, for I am the Grim Reaper and I have come for your soul." Now, this was actually pretty scary. If it had been anyone else, they probably would have dropped dead right there and then. But not this guy. He just laughed. "Haha, Grimmy, you always were a terrible actor," he said with a smirk. "But don't worry, I won't make fun of you in front of the others. I know how sensitive you are." Then he slammed the door in the Reaper's face. Well, that was awkward. The Grim Reaper was now sweating profusely. He'd failed his mission and he had no idea what to do next. Suddenly he heard a voice behind him. "Need some help, Grimmy?" It was Lucifer himself, and he was smirking from ear to ear. The Grim Reaper knew that he was in trouble now. If Lucifer was around, things were about to get real ugly. Yeah, actually," he stammered. I kinda need a hand here." Lucifer just laughed and clapped him on the shoulder. "Don't worry, my friend. I've got just the thing to help you out," he said with a wicked grin. What he pulled out of his pocket was a small, ornate box, and as the Grim Reaper reached for it, Lucifer warned him, "Be careful, my friend. This box is not for the faint of heart." What the Grim Reaper didn't realize at first was that this wasn't just any box. It was a Pandora's box, and once he opened it, there was no putting it back. Inside the box was a swirling vortex of darkness, and as the Grim Reaper reached inside to grab the mysterious object, he felt a surge of power unlike anything he'd ever experienced before.